What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So we ended up finding ourselves with 3 young New York Jets making the NFL All-Under-25 team. So in case that wasn't clear enough, all of the players that made this list are under the age of 25. The specific note I want you guys to pay attention to is that to be eligible for this list, the players had to be younger than 25 on September 27th, which is when the regular season will officially kick off. So the 3 names that we'll end up talking about are going to be Breece Hall, Alijah Vera Tucker, and Sauce Gardner, which means there's some pretty big names on our team that are excluded. Some of these will be obvious since they're already 25, but to go through some of them, Quentin Williams, Bryce Huff, Michael Carter II is under 25, and then Garrett Wilson is under 25. So specifically for those 2 players, Bryce Huff, I'm not sure if he'll turn 25 before the season starts. I just happen to be too lazy to look it up, to be honest. But if he, in fact, did qualify for this, I'll be interested to see if we would picture him being within that team, right? The biggest disqualifier for him will probably be he has such a low snap count utilization rate or usage, however you want to put it. Basically, he's only averaging, I think the number is 13.8 snaps last season for us, and so it's just not a healthy enough amount for him to compare favorably to a lot of the guys that'll make this list, and we may chat about him a bit. And then as far as Garrett Wilson, excellent season, obviously an offensive rookie of the year, but to be honest, when we take a look at this list, they had for the wide receiver spots 2 players, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, ahead of them, both already having multiple seasons under their belt, and of course multiple 1,000-yard seasons. So makes 100% sense, although they did shout Garrett Wilson out as being the guy that'll probably take the place of those since they'll be moving beyond the age of 25 in future lists. Now, to get to our actual list here, we're going to kick things off with Breece Hall, of course. So what they ended up mentioning for him was, sure, he missed most of his rookie season after suffering an ACL tear, but the football world saw enough from Hall to know he's special. He averaged 5.8 yards per carry in his 7 games. He scored 5 total touchdowns and did so while starting just twice. Had he remained healthy, his greatest competition for Offensive Rookie of the Year would have been his teammate Garrett Wilson, the eventual Offensive Rookie of the Year. I believe a healthy Hall likely would have won the award over Wilson too. So they make plenty of good points in a short, sweet summary about how impactful Breece Hall actually was. And to be honest, it kind of slips my mind sometimes that he wasn't our starter, throughout the entirety of the season. It took him a couple weeks to get going, right? We heard the coaching staff saying there's just a small adjustment they'd like to see him make in terms of how he's hitting the hole, and whether he's being not necessarily too patient, but they don't want to see as much east to west running. They want to see north and south, right? They want that one-cut movement take off. And once things finally clicked for Breece Hall, and I remember him bringing this up during one of his interviews, it was lights out, right? After that, it was at least one huge play over, I want to say, 50 yards per game for him. And so that seemed like it was going to be a pretty consistent facet of his game where he was going to break off at least one huge run. And that was a huge component of our win against the Broncos, for example. A huge piece of a huge piece of our offense definitely went missing once he went out, and I think everybody across the board felt it, no more so than maybe the actual Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson, who didn't have that superstar teammate in the backfield that was going to help ease and take off a lot of pressure to open things up even more for Garrett Wilson. So makes perfect sense here. Seems like the other running back they went with was Jonathan Taylor, which makes a lot of sense as well. We're going to jump to Alijah Vera Tucker in a moment. I do want to point out the fact that I get curious. I'll post a question to you guys. Do you think the expectations for Breece Hall coming back from this ACL tear may too much? Are the expectations that we're levying on him to come back and still be, for sure 1,000-yard rusher, potentially double-digit touchdowns, a huge piece of our receiving game as well? It might be too much on his shoulders too quick, right? So again, a lot of this will be dependent on if he's a full go immediately from week one, or if they really do try to ease his way into things, and that's where this whole Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, and of course our rookie Israel Bandi kind of conversations are coming from. How secure do you feel with the running back room, right? So either way, moving on to Alijah Vera Tucker, they had to say this about him. Vera Tucker was playing Premier Football before he went down with a season-ending triceps tear in 2022. It's no coincidence his injury, in addition to the loss of Breece Hall, almost immediately preceded the Jets' downturn last season. It appears Vera Tucker was well worth the first-round pick the team spent on him in 2021. So this has been a huge component of what a lot of people used as ammunition against Joe Douglas, is that he was sacrificing premium day 2 picks to move up for a non-premium position, right? When you think of offensive line, most people immediately go to the tackles and that's it. But you need 5 very high caliber players for the most part to operate a high power offense. So Alijah Vera Tucker kind of came in with the cards stacked against him, I would say, and I felt like he absolutely proved 100% of people. I want to say wrong is maybe the right way to put it, but we seen him go up, and he did so well across multiple positions, playing right guard, playing left guard. Any guard position in general, we knew he was going to do very well at, but I think the eye-opening situation was seeing that he can go out there and he was going to play above average football as a tackle, which is a position where even coming out of the draft, a lot of people loved his versatility, but it was the same conversation we're having now, an all-pro guard versus maybe a Pro Bowl tackle. And so you see that he can do it now, which adds a great emergency break-the-glass piece for this New York Jets offensive line. But ultimately, play your guys where they're going to have the most success, right? That's the whole name of the game. And so very excited to see what he can do at right guard here. And as well, while we're talking about these accolades, do you guys think he'll put up an all-pro season this year? I think that should be the expectation, right? We're piecing together an offensive line that is having athletic traits that we haven't seen really ever. Even when we go back to the days of the DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, Nick Mangold, having Damian Woody and guys like that out there, that was old school, hard-nosed football. I'm just going to, bare knuckle brawl you in the trenches. We have guys that can actually go out there and move and do some special things out there on the field. So very hyped for that. And then for our last candidate here, of course, we had Sauce Gardner, who made the list. Pretty much he looks like he could become one of those next face of the franchise and face of the NFL type players. So here's what they had to say. Gardner's ascension to Defensive Rookie of the Year might have felt tinged with hyperbole. He has a magnetic personality, a cool nickname, and a wing sauce deal, but the tape doesn't lie. Gardner was elite in his first NFL season. He should continue playing at that level, if not at an even higher one in the years ahead. And the question that immediately jumped to my head was, a lot of the conversation by the time the season finished, even with what happened to the Jets season, was, is Sauce Gardner already pressing to be one of the best in the NFL? And in fact, he's already kind of having his name thrown around in fun. Like, I think it was, how does the game go? Kill, marry, something. I don't know. But basically, he was compared himself to, I believe it was Champ Bailey, and I want to say it was Jalen Ramsey. Either way, though, I want to say it was definitely 1 or 2 Hall of Fame caliber players in there, just to let you know what the league and what players and media and everybody across the league already thinks of Sauce Gardner. And realistically, my question is, it's not even can he improve, it is what does this next step for him actually look like, right? Tony Odoms, our cornerback coach, kind of already hit it on the head. The takeaways is really going to be what separates him from any kind of setback, right? In terms of a sophomore slump. We seen elite coverage. It didn't matter if it was in man, off man, zone. Playing quarters coverage, all of these different elements. He was able to go out there and do things very, very well. The biggest stickler that I had is there was a lack of aggression in terms of tackling, but even then, very, very minor with what he was contributing to. He got 2 picks last year. You felt like with him leading the league in pass breakups, obviously maybe he could have came away with a couple of more of those, but he doesn't have to be a Trayvon Diggs, right? He doesn't have to get a pick every single game, but on the game film, when we go back and check things out as this season comes up, we want to see that when there was obvious opportunities, and that's exactly what I mean, obvious. I don't need spectacular plays, although those would be welcome. When those obvious opportunities come in to secure the ball and be able to flip the field, we want to see that, happen this year, right? So I expect that his coverage will still be spectacular. We know what his mental capacity is for being able to go out there, study up on his opponents, recognize trends, and of course his athleticism allows him to do some absolute ridiculous things on film. So to be honest, if Sauce Gardner has anything close to he had his rookie year, I think people are going to automatically write his ticket in for the Hall of Fame. And so I think the question at that point becomes, is this one of those transcendent kind of guys that can will his team to a victory, right? Defensively, it's a lot harder to do because you're generally not as in control of being able to put points and stuff up on the board, right? But an opportunistic defense can definitely do wonders, and you never know how those things will work out. So those are the 3 guys that we had on the list. Let me know if you guys feel like there's an argument to be made for a Michael Carter II to make the list. That is definitely the guy that I felt like is being excluded here. I won't argue with the list, though, because when it came to the cornerbacks they picked, it was Sauce Gardner, it was Patrick Surtain, and then the flex was Tariq Woolen. And I know a lot of us have had those fun arguments with Seahawks fans about who was the best cornerback. Obviously Sauce Gardner, but make no mistake, Tariq Woolen exceeded all expectations, especially for his draft slot, and especially for what a lot of the scouting reports said about what to expect from him within like the first 2 to 3 years. So he smashed through those for sure, but slot cornerbacks generally don't get love anyways. But I would, as much as we give DJ Reed that title as most underrated, I would actually slide that over to Michael Carter II because he's been one of the best slot cornerbacks in the league. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll catch you again. Peace.